As part of his global tour, the Saudi Crown Prince is in France in a 2-day visit, during which around 14 letters of understanding in energy, agriculture, tourism, and culture will be signed between French and Saudi organizations. Mohammed bin Salman's tour is aimed at introducing him as the king-in-waiting of Saudi Arabia to key members of the international community. Backed by global lobbying and public relations firms, the prince is seeking to reshape his kingdom's austere image overseas.
That he's going to try to have bilateral agreements with France, which is a partner to Saudi Arabia, and see if they can find a way to be less and less dependent on the price of oil, because Saudi Arabia right now has a policy that is dependent on its sales of oil. With the price of oil being low compared to what they expect, that is to say a barrel around $100, now they're trying to find other ways to try to finance their economy and have their interests defended with their new project for the country.
After signing major contracts in the US and UK, MBS is not expected to clinch any mega deals in France. The visit comes amid growing pressure on Macron at home from lawmakers and rights groups over France's weapons sales to the so-called Saudi-led coalition's war in Yemen. The French president faces criticism over the exports of arms to the kingdom, including Caesar artillery guns, sniper rifles, and armored vehicles, despite the kingdom's role in the Yemen crisis. According to a YouGov poll, 75% of French people want their president to suspend arms sales to Saudi Arabia and the UAE.
France has been providing weapons to Saudi Arabia, and this is something that is very unpopular in France. The vast majority of the French population is opposed to the sales of weapons to Saudi Arabia, knowing that those weapons are used to kill civilians in Yemen. So far, there's been 10,000 civilians killed in Yemen in what has been called by the United Nations the worst man-made humanitarian crisis of our time. So this is something very unpopular in France, but still, President Macron has been a critique of Saudi Arabia during the campaign in France, but since he's been president, we haven't heard him much on his opposition to arms deal with Saudi Arabia. So I do not believe that this is something that is going to change, even though this is very unpopular in France. But Mohammed bin Salman is going to try to continue with this partnership.
Macron also faces the challenge of strengthening ties with the Saudis while managing other relationships in the Middle East. Bin Salman has pointed out closer ties with Donald Trump, as Macron has been seeking to improve relations with Iran after sanctions were lifted as part of the nuclear deal. In fact, the Crown Prince's aggressive agenda can contradict Macron's claimed vision of stability in the Middle East.
There is no way that you can find a security framework in the Middle East with the exclusion of maybe the most important geopolitical force in the Middle East, that is Iran. Without Iran in the region, there is no way to build a security framework. So what Mohammed bin Salman is doing is his vision is that you need to be against Iran to secure Saudi interests. So by doing so, he's going to lobby the campaign against any sort of rapprochement with Iran, or not even rapprochement, but any policy that could include Iran in the region, to make sure that Iran is going to be contained, Iran is going to be isolated, even with the risk of a confrontation with Iran. That sends a very negative message for the peace and stability in the region. And he's going to, again, call Iran the worst evil in the region as part of his public campaign to demonize Iran.
Bin Salman's visit to Paris can be a test of Macron's core principles. If he rolls out the red carpet treatment and turns a blind eye to the prince's terrible record at home and in Yemen in the hope of inking lucrative contracts, he will betray before anything else the values France is claiming to stand for.